everybody. Hope you're having a great day. Wanted to just take a few minutes and chat with you about my experience on keto over the last month. About a week ago, Scott actually spent some time chatting with you about his experience on keto and kind of some of the things that he's seen improvements on. So I wanted to take a few moments to kind of share with you my experience and how that might be a little bit different than Scott's. You know, I think it's important to really understand where I started my journey prior to going into this low carb lifestyle. Prior to starting keto, for me at least, I was just tired constantly. I mean, I would wake up tired, I would go to bed exhausted. About 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I would crash and felt like I needed to take a nap. Scott and I would have date nights on Friday nights, and, I'd fall asleep at 9 o'clock at night in the middle of a movie. It was, just ridiculous, really. I think for me, wanting to start a low carb lifestyle was a lot to do with wanting to increase energy. In addition to being exhausted all the time, I was grumpy. I was starving all the time. Something else that I struggled with was brain fog. I mean, I was just waking up feeling like I was in a cloud constantly and like I really couldn't think clearly. The other thing I was struggling with is that I was completely and totally addicted to sugar. I would seriously go through, maybe 1.5 to 2 pounds of jelly beans a week. It was ridiculous. The more sugar I ate, the more sugar I wanted, and the more tired I felt. Really, for me, starting keto was about trying to manage all of those things that made me feel tired and exhausted and, frustrated by the end of the day. Like I just couldn't get enough done in a day, and I felt like I wasn't even really doing that much.
Lay down on your bed.
So something else that was a concern to me, even though I wasn't terribly overweight, something that I really wanted to focus on was getting rid of those stubborn pounds. It just seemed like no matter what I did, they wouldn't come off. When we first moved out here to Austin, I was actually doing, pretty decent with my weight. And over the last 2 years, I've put on about 10 pounds. So it's definitely something that I wanted to focus on and thought that this low carb lifestyle might help with that. So since being on keto over the last month, I've definitely been really encouraged by a lot of the changes that I've seen, not only with my body, but also with my levels of energy. Let's get real here. I mean, there's only 24 hours in a day, right? Between 6 and 8 of which we're hopefully sleeping. And the rest, we want to be as productive and as, motivated to get things done as we absolutely can be. And, if we can find a way to get more energy back in our life, then I am all for that. And I don't think anybody would disagree with me there. After about a month of keto, I will definitely say that my level of tiredness has really decreased. That's not to say I don't get tired, but what I will say is that I don't wake up feeling exhausted all the time. I get to work, I feel like I can hit the ground running, and I'm not crashing at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, that is a huge win for me. Something else that's been huge for me has been the fact that I don't crave sugar. Anybody who has known me for even a slight amount of time knows that I have a really bad sweet tooth, and I was super concerned about going low carb and just cutting sugar out completely. But you know what? Guys, it's really not as hard as I thought it was going to be. I probably craved sugar for the first week and a half. But after that, you know what? I don't even want it anymore because I know how my body feels so good now without it. So about a week ago, I actually went in for my annual woman exam. And, apart from them checking all of your lady parts to make sure that they're working as they should be, they do a full lipid and metabolic panel. And I got to tell you, I was so encouraged by the improvement that I made across the board based on what my numbers were last year. My cholesterol is all going in the right direction. My fasting blood glucose is so much better than it used to be. I know that there's probably some improvement there that I can continue to make, but I'm really just encouraged by where I am right now, even after having been on keto for just 4 weeks. So as I mentioned before, one of the things that I was definitely wanting to focus on was my weight. I had put on, like I said, about 10 pounds over the last couple of years, and I'm really proud to say I've literally lost every one of those 10 pounds in the last 4 weeks. I'm just encouraged by that. And, for me, keto is not just about the weight loss. It's about how I feel and listening to my body and figuring out what works and what doesn't. And after 4 weeks, 10 pounds is amazing. I hope I can continue to lose a few more, but I'm really pretty happy with where I'm at right now. So one of the things that's actually been kind of a surprise to me after doing this for 4 weeks has been how my taste buds have changed. So not only do I not crave sugar anymore, But I've actually started to develop like a palate for a little bit more fatty foods, which is something that I never really had a taste for before. I always kind of had an affinity towards the lean meats, like lean chicken, lean turkey. Guys, I gotta tell you, I mean, Scott's an amazing cook, so that helps. But I've started to enjoy like more fatty cuts of red meat, and Scott made some oxtail the other night, which before I really wouldn't even touch, but it was just amazing. Kind of interested to see what other changes I might be able to see in my palate over the next weeks and months. A funny story. When Scott and I first started dating, I made it pretty clear to him that I didn't eat red meat, and it was almost a deal breaker. But he hung in there with me, and we decided at the time, we were living in Tucson, and there was no In-N-Out burger in Tucson at that time. So we drove 2 hours to Phoenix just on a whim because Scott was craving In-N-Out, and he told me, you absolutely have to try In-N-Out. I mean, he's from Southern California. Who from Southern California doesn't love In-N-Out? Anyway, we made the trek to Phoenix. We got in line. And Scott encouraged me very strongly to try my first cheeseburger in many, many years. And I have to tell you, I think I might have converted at that point. So my love for red meat is definitely continuing to evolve, especially because I know how amazing my body feels when I eat it. One of the other things that I was concerned about prior to starting keto, especially as a mom who has 2 young kids, I mean, Lucas is going to be 7 in July and Ellie is 2.5. I was really concerned that the kids were just going to throw their hands in the air and they were going to refuse to eat. But you know what? I was really pleasantly surprised. I think Lucas probably had the hardest time because he was so used to eating processed foods and sugar. He's really come a long way, and I'm really proud of him. And he's trying things now that I never thought he would try, and he's enjoying foods that I never thought he would enjoy. The great thing about keto is that there is literally a replacement for every single food that these kids love. Pizza, cookies, chicken wings. There's really nothing that you can't do on keto that you were previously doing on a traditional American diet. I mean, Lucas is doing great. Ellie loves it. I'm just really encouraged by how well they've transitioned from eating processed foods and sugar pretty much at every meal in some capacity. They haven't had like actual spaghetti in weeks now, and now they're eating zucchini noodles. I never thought that would ever happen without a fight. So one of the things that I absolutely love about being on keto and kind of moving towards this low carb lifestyle is the fact that we're doing it together as a family. So we're coming around the dinner table and we're talking to our kids about how important it is to put good food in their bodies and, the impact of not feeding their body good, nutritious things. And, Lucas has always been full of questions, and I feel like he's really gotten excited about a lot of these changes that we've started making because he's really curious about how his body works and, how if he eats sugar, what's that going to do to him and how's that going to make him feel? And, it's a really great way for our family to kind of bond and learn together and grow together. And, for the kids to start implementing a lot of these things at such a young age, it's just really exciting to know that they're going to grow up in a world where they get all of that stuff. So one of the things I struggled with before I started keto was digestive issues. I've really seen a transformation in the way that my body processes food, and I have not had any significant digestive issues since I started keto. All right, guys, so to sum up, huge wins in the first 4 weeks for me personally and for the kids. Keto has been a lifesaver, really, for my energy levels, just for my digestive issues, for my weight loss. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I haven't struggled with certain things over the last 4 weeks, but we'll save that for the next video. What I will say is that I really feel like the benefits of being on a low carb diet like keto far outweighs the downside. So for those of you who may still have some reservations about switching to a low carb lifestyle, let me just say this. I've been pretty encouraged by the science that we have come across as we've started to learn more about keto. I know it's definitely probably a far cry from what a lot of people are used to, and it may seem a little bit scary, but for me personally, and I can speak for the rest of our family as well, we're really encouraged by what has happened in our lives over the last 4 weeks. And we can't wait to continue to share sort of what our journey looks like as we continue on this low carb lifestyle. So in the next video, I want to share with you some of the struggles that I faced over the last 4 weeks as my body was kind of getting used to this low carb lifestyle. That's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys later.